Over the course of January 2023, I was able to log 35 games, and that's 16 individual games total. And I'm going to talk about those right now. I'm very excited to talk about all the games. There are some games that I've played for the first time, and I'll let you know when that's the case. Some games I've played many, many times. So let's start off with some of the obvious ones here. Root. I was able to log 8 games of Root. So Root, I've been playing a lot recently with my friend Jeff from Foster the Meeple, Tim from the Tim Chuan channel, and then my friend Pal. And we've been kind of just playing over and over against each other, a nice 4-player game of Root. And it's been an absolute blast. I feel like we're all kind of like giving our input and how to kind of teach Tim kind of to get kind of where we're at in the knowledge of the game. And Tim's kind of learning as we go, which has been really, really awesome. He's been really, really down to learn and down to get completely obliterated sometimes and also do really well other times. So it's been really, really fun to kind of play Root with some of my closest friends many, many times this month. That's been great. All the banter, me and Jeff, we get really, really feisty, and Pal is also super feisty, and Tim can also be really feisty. So it's just the chat that we have in our games has just been absolutely bizarre. A lot of anger. Okay, so I also played 7 games of Everdale. This is my wife's favorite game, and I just learned to love it more and more. It's been really great to have the digital adaptation of Everdale come out, because me and my wife have been able to play just 1 versus 1 games, just kind of in rotation, one after another. And it's been really nice to play Everdale this much, because I've kind of learned to try and experiment with all these different strategies. Usually I'm not one to kind of, change up my strategy, but with being able to play the game so much more and in kind of quicker succession with this new digital app, I've been able to try out some crazy strategies. Like I never really tried the Undertaker graveyard strategy. I never really messed with those cards, but I've been messing with those now. I've been enjoying it. And then I've also kind of tried out the Chapel and the, I forgot, the Pilgrim, I think is what they're called. But I was able to try out just like a couple of different strategies, and it's been really fun to just kind of go back and forth with my wife. Just such a good time. I was able to play 3 games of Zoovadas. Zoovadas is a game that I received a copy of from Bitewing Games. I actually did a video on it, so I'll go ahead and have that linked. Really, really fun game. Tons of negotiation. I just enjoy it so much. If you want to hear like my full thoughts, I did a legit full review of it, so definitely check out that video. But this is just a great game. I like to introduce it to people. I think this is going to be one that I am going to find myself introducing to a lot of non-gamers, because it's something that I really enjoy to play, and it's something that's not too hard to get people into. Zoovadas, good stuff. I was able to play Nemesis 2 times. Now, Nemesis was a game that I had wanted to play for a long time, but never really was interested enough in the theme to really just grab it. Thankfully and luckily enough, my brother actually bought Nemesis, or I think he got it for Christmas, but either way. He invited me over, we played a 2-player game, and I was like, wow, this is actually super fun. And my brother even freaking like painted all of the miniatures. It's just absolutely amazing. So shout out to Frank. He really gave me a good first experience playing this game. And then I wanted to get together with my brother and his wife, and my other brother and his wife, and me and my wife, and we all got together and played a 6-player game, which is technically not, it only goes up to 5 players, but I guess a lot of people in BGG are totally cool with playing 6 as long as you just make some reference cards and stuff. So we were able to get together and play a 6-player game, which was absolute bonkers nuts. I want to do it again. It was super fun. This game is really, really interesting. I definitely want to play it more. I'm finding that the goals are very hard to achieve sometimes, and they're a little bit easier to achieve other times. And I think I just need to play the game more to really come up with my full thoughts, but I was enjoying it a lot. Nemesis it's a fun game. Okay, so Imperium Classics, I was able to play 2 times. If you don't know, Imperium Classics is one of my favorite games. It's just a deck builder, and I can play it solo. I believe both of these plays were solo, because Kate's not super huge on playing with me, but super, super fun. gosh, I just love it. I've been really focusing lately. I've been focusing on just trying to get better with the Arthurians in this game. And what I want to do eventually is kind of do a strategy guide on the Arthurians, because I know they're one of the more complex factions, and I feel like I'm really starting to figure them out. So that is Imperium Classics. I also played Imperial Settlers Empires of the North 2 times. I started a new campaign with the Wrath of the Lighthouse, and this time I'm taking, oh gosh, I forgot, the Heidel clan, which is kind of the drunken Vikings, and you assign your workers, they get stuck on a location, you have to retrieve them back. This game is just so great. It's one of those games that you can easily set out and play, and it's an engine builder at its core, a really fast, rapid engine builder. And me and Kate really love to play this game when we don't really know what to play. And so we'll just sometimes be like, well, let's just play Empires of the North because it's super quick to set up and we both know the game super well. And so we'll just pull this out and we'll draw 2 factions and just play against each other, see who gets the highest score. It's so much fun. I would definitely check this out. It's a really good engine builder. If you like Everdale, I think that's a really good Everdale or Wingspan. If you like either of those games, you might like this one, except that you actually have your own asymmetry with your factions, so each faction is completely different. I was able to finally get Almoravid to the table, and it had been a long time coming. I'd played multiple games of Nevsky before, which is another game in the same series. These are both games from Levy and Campaign series. And Almoravid is a war game that is really about the provender, the resources, the carts and transportation, how long are your commanders going to be in war, how long can you afford them. I was able to kind of do that whole thing, and it was so much fun to play this game. I talk a lot about Nevsky in a video that I just did about some of my top solo games of all time, so definitely check that out. But being able to play Almoravid with a live person just made me so freaking happy because it is really such an experience. I also was able to play Nevsky, kind of the same concepts, but that one you're the Rus or the Teutons. All right, and then I was able to try out Hickory Dickory, which is a game by Plaid Hat Games, and we've only played this once, mind you. My first impressions of it are that it's very, very cute, and that the little spinny clock thing was really fun. I'm not sure just how much I like the game, though, and I'm not really sure why either. Kate really, really liked it, but I think that was because it was cute. But there was also this other thing of it felt very... I don't know, it felt very weird. I think I have to get used to not having any turns because the game just kind of goes around and around and around, and that kind of determines when you're able to take actions. It just works like clockwork. But also, that was really hard for me to get into of this just feels kind of weird. I almost feel like I'm rushed all the time, even though I'm not rushed. And I ended up winning that game, but I didn't really feel like I earned it. And there was just some weird, I don't know. I think I just need to play the game more. It is a beautiful production. I think it's very, very cute. I definitely want to try it more, but I don't know if it's actually going to kind of last in my collection. However, being as cute as it is, it probably will, because I'm sure Kate will not let me get rid of it. So, hey, if she likes it, then maybe we can play it some more. I was able to play Wayfarers of the South Tigris. Holy moly, that game is a brain burner. Your brain is split in 4 different directions because you're essentially building up 4 different tableaus. You've got the land and the sea, and then you've also got the sky and space above both of those. And you're kind of building out these cards and kind of creating this beautiful panorama. And all of those interactions between those cards matter. You can score points, you can gain resources. You've also got this dice placement and also worker placement. And the dice placement is actually kind of an interesting engine building game because you can actually determine what the die face does for you by building up a grid and basically determining what that die face gives you, if that explains it at all. But it's a very unique system. It's a very tough game because you really are split in 4 different ways all the time. Very, very prone to analysis paralysis because there's just so many things that you have to think of, and you need to be thinking of things 3 turns ahead in order to be productive in your gameplay. all that to say, I enjoyed this game a ton. I really, really loved it, and I want to play it again. And that was just from a first play. I need to play it more though, because I'm like holding off on making my best of 2022. Because there's some games that are just kind of coming up, some games that I want to play. And also I knew that Wayfarers might make it on there. So really, really good game, y'all. I want to play it some more. And so I was also able to play Cosmic Frog. Cosmic Frog is kind of a weirdly Euro game, and the weirdest part about this game is the turn structure is kind of cool. Essentially, there's a deck of cards that have each player in them, and you reveal a card, and that shows when your turn comes up. And so some player can have like 3 turns in a row, and then a player has a turn, or 5 turns in a row, and then a player has their 5 turns in a row. It just depends on the order of which those cards are, and I really, really liked that because it rewarded kind of trying to be strategic when you get the opportunity to be, in a way. And then also, another thing I enjoyed about it is, as I was talking about the game, it's like all of these actions have such a weird, nice story to it. Like the weird things that you do where you're like eating these land masses, and then you're scoring for the same types of terrain tiles. And then, you can punch another frog and that will make them, regurgitate the land mass. It's like just some weird concepts, but it's such a cool world of like these giant frog miniatures that are just going around eating lands and trying to get the most victory points. I enjoyed my play of it. I want to play it some more, but definitely one that I think I'm going to be playing more this year for sure. I was able to try out Votes for Women. I was not able to try this one out multiplayer. I was only able to do a solo match against the bot, which the bot is super, super nice. Yeah, but this game is about women's suffrage movement, and I don't think somebody would want to play, playing against stopping the women's suffrage movement from passing, but the game itself has tons of historical value to it. It's really easy to learn. I could see this game being great in schools. I also think it's a great intro, like something like almost like Pandemic, a really good game to get new gamers to the hobby, because it's a really good story, great history, great production value, and I enjoyed my play of it a lot. I want to play it again as a cooperative game against the game itself again. But yeah, I enjoyed my first play. Fort Circle Games has been just really, really impressing me. And so I was really glad I was able to get that game to the table. I played one game of What Do You Meme? I was able to play with my friends. I haven't played a game like this in a long time, but it was not too bad. I usually don't like games where you're just trying to get, points from like making the most funny thing, because oftentimes I just feel like either I get super lucky and I win, or I don't. But it's really, those games are not about winning or losing. And so I was just glad to spend time with my friends, celebrating New Year's, and them pulling out a game for me to play was just awesome. So I was just happy to play a game with them. We also played Mysterium Park that night. I love Mysterium Park. I talk about this game a ton. Mysterium Park is essentially just a miniature version of Mysterium, where you are going to be, one player is going to be a ghost, and they're trying to lead other players to their murderer and also the location in which they were murdered. And Mysterium Park just never disappoints. I love this game. I feel like this game is one of the best games to just get people into the hobby. They loved it when I introduced them to it. So shout out to Sashka and Mariah. We played What Do You Meme, Mysterium Park, and the next game, Rolling Realms, all together for New Year's. It was such an absolute blast. What a fun game day. Rolling Realms was fun too. I always love this game because it's easy to pull out. And this was the first time that I had actually played Rolling Realms at more than 2 players. And I played a nice 4-player game, and it was just fun. It plays the exact same no matter what player count you play it at, because everybody's just kind of doing their own thing, solving their own puzzle, and it was just a blast. So that's actually all the games that I played this month. I know I went through that really fast, and this is something that I want to do more of. I want to be able to talk about games that I have played each month, and kind of to cap out the month and talk about what games. So if you have any questions about any of the games that I talked about here, definitely comment down below. I'll leave links because some of these games I've actually talked about before, and so in those cases I left links down below on where I talked about them. So definitely definitely check out those links. But yeah, that is all the games that I played in January of 2023. Thank you so much, everyone who is watching to this point. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you have not already and you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. And with that, let us go ahead and drop the beat.